Hey Ed, how you doing? Can you hear me? What we're going to do today, I have three things planned, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get to all three, but we're going to do an interpretation from the stick control book and the syncopation book, utilizing eighth note triplets, alternating the strokes. Eighth note triplets. Remember I said how I count the eighth note triplet is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so I'm going to use alternating strokes, no accents. It sounds like something's in here. Hold on. I got to change snare drums. How you doing, Jim? Hi. So you want to get the stick control book out and the syncopation book out. Before I start the lesson, Jim, I need I misplaced the contact of the last purchase where I have to mail it to. So can you just do me a favor after the lesson? Email me the address. The books are in-house and they will be put in the mail tomorrow morning. Okay, so working with stick control and the syncopation book. Last night's lesson was a fun lesson, I believe. Interpretation, the long and short notes, and the Alan Dawson approach, and so on and so forth. Tonight, or today rather, like I said, I have two or three different things planned. I don't know if we're going to have time to do all of them. So the first one is an interpretation of stick control. All right, now, on the top, when I say the top, there's no interpretation. It's just a constant run of triplets. I just played one measure in 4/4 time of eighth note triplets. I'll do it slower. Let me take the snares off. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and notice my right stick and my left stick. I'm trying to make both sides of me, the right side and the left side, equalized in sound. Now, the way we're going to interpret the stick control book in this case is we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now I want to put an accent on the top of the triplet. Now I'm going to look at the line and I'm going to say I'm going to eliminate all the lefts. And wherever there's a right, I'm going to play an accent. So on the first line, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is where the rights fall. So if I'm doing the triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to accent the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm using one surface to demonstrate it, and in the length of the broadcast, I will show you how to utilize your toms and add another voice. So we're accenting the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's where all the rights fall. Okay, so now, hey, what is this? We have the second line. And by the way, I forgot to tell you that we're interpreting it actually swung. So, oh, come on. Lord be Lord. Jesus. I hate this computer shit. Okay, anyway. The second line, all the rights fall on the da. So we have 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. So now, underline 1, 2, 3 and da, 4 and da. All my accents are going to fall on the da of the triplet. Okay? 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da, 1 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. So that's line 1 and line 2. Okay, where did Ed go? Jim, you're here. Okay, now, if I do line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and line 2, and incorporate, do line 1 a couple times and go to line 2 on one surface. Line 2, back, so that's line 1 and line 2, all right? Now, that's just on one surface, and notice there's the levels in there. All right, so if I did the first one with the level and I count the level, I say the level, as opposed to counting the triplet, it would be down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap. If I did the second guy, it'd be up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down. Now we'll take just the first two lines and we'll put them onto the we're going to put them onto the tom-toms. All right-hand accents will fall on the floor tom-tom. All left-hand accents will fall on the small tom-tom. I'll do it slow. Line 1. Line 2 now, again, we're reversing it to the da, or we're going to the da of the triplet as opposed to the first note of the triplet. So we have 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. Back, 2, 3, 4. 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da. So on and so forth. Notice that my left foot's on 2 and 4, heel and toe. My bass drum is feathered in. And I just accomplished line 1 and 2 on one surface and on multiple surfaces. Now, let's go to line 3. We're on page 5 of the stick control book, Ed. You okay? Line 1. That was one measure of line 1, one measure of line 2. Now we go to line 3, page 5 of the stick control book. The right is going to fall on 1 da and 3 da. So there's where my accent's going to fall. And I'm going to do it on one surface. Now I go to line 4 rather. The rights are falling on 2 da and 4 da, so I have 1, then a drum set application, multiple voices. Well, we're going to go to the Syncopation book. This is more of an introduction to the Syncopation book, Ed. And we're going to hang out with that page. But you need to get the possibilities and feel the flow of the eighth note triplet itself. On line 4, the rights fall on 2 da and 4 da. So if I'm on one surface, I got 1. Now you have to realize something, Ed. There's drummers of all different levels here, and I need to make this one clear as page 5 to understand how to maneuver or manipulate the accent. Now, I'm giving that as an exercise. You could do 1 through 24 that way. It's not a problem. But it's a fun thing to do, and it's just one way to do this. I have a lot of other ways to do this, but I want to stay on this method. If I did line 5, the rights fall on 1, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's going to tell me, okay, where I'm going to place my accent with this one. It's just probabilities and possibilities, or whatever you want to call it, of accenting the 8th note triplet. And yeah, we go through the whole the stick control book with that reference, or we can, and I have this, that was the second part of the lesson, and it's just about there. Where's my book? Oh boy. I'll tell you. Hold on a second, gentlemen. Let me go get the Syncopation Book. Por favor. Oh, Lord. It's like an infiltration course back here. Okay, now we're going to go to the Syncopation Book, but I had to start off easy, Ed. You know, I know that you understand excuse me. I know that you understand all of this, and you had a Syncopation Book, like I always say. All right, the Syncopation Book, in my opinion, is the stick control book, but on steroids. We're going to start off really simple. What page did you want me to hit? 54? Why 54? Okay, 54, where are you? Come on. Well, that's written out. That's not what I want to teach. Okay? 54 is showing you that concept. If you have a chart of music, it's not writing out triplets with accents. It's giving you ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da, the syncopated part. And that's where I want to go. That's not what I'm teaching, Mr. Ed. So let's go, being I have the Syncopation Book here, let's go to page 13, okay? Now I'm going to play this on one surface. Oh, lesson 3. You didn't say that, Mr. Ed. Oh, we have the same book. Lesson 3 is page 8. 53 to 57. That's not what I want to do. All right? That's not what I want to do. Remember, we have drummers of all levels here. Okay? Yeah, you could look at that and it's written out as a triplet with the accents on there. But where does the accents come? What are the accents for? just a maneuver. Yeah, that's two. That you can do that. You could think of it that way. I'm trying to evolve into a musical situation where you're popping, say, the trumpets or the whole band with the accents, and you're filling in. Okay? Let's go to a simple page. That's okay, Ed. That's not a problem. I understand why you want to do that. And that's easier, but why make life easier? All right, let's go to the Syncopation Book, Lesson 12. All right, Lesson 12, page 30. We're playing it swung. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is lesson 12, page 30, line 1. Now, what you've done with the stick control in the first 15, 20 minutes of the lesson, now you're going to apply it to here. Okay, so now I'm playing alternating triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you understand that, Ed? Jim, do you understand that? And whoever else is viewing, do you understand it? That's lesson 12. All right, line number 1. I'm thinking of it as swung. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. All right, now I'm going to play the triplets on the bottom. 1, 2, and I'm going to accent where it's written. 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. It makes sense now, Ed? All right, let's go to the second line. Okay, second line, swung. 1 and the 2 and 3 and the 4. Who's this? JC, how you doing, JC? Did I put you on my mailing list, JC? All right, line 2, page 30, lesson 12. Playing is swung. 1 and the 2, all 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Now, we're still on one surface. What's this, Ed? Well, yeah, they would. They would. The question, all right. The comment that Ed just made was, wouldn't beginner students have a difficult time conceptualizing triplets if they look at accented straight eighth notes? We're not accenting straight eighth notes. The eighth notes that I interpret from the stick control book are swung. I'm eliminating the lefts. Okay? When I eliminate the lefts, that gives me the right form, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there comes a time when everything that you want to learn or play is not in a book. All right? It's mental. You have to zone into that. And by doing that, and it takes a tremendous amount of concentration, okay? And you understand it a lot better by thinking the way of that interpretation as opposed to visually seeing it written. So you're interpreting that way. It's not swung 1 and 2, it's not straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's swung. Ba, 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 da, ba. That's what it is. Okay, we're on, I guess, line 2, page 30. Now, page 30, line 2, swung. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and the 2, the 3, 4. 1, the 2, the 3, 4. 1, the 2, the 3, 4. That's what's presented in a musical situation. It's not telling you to write out triplets and play the accents where that falls, and it's not on eighth notes. It's not 3 against 2. It's swung. So now I do line 2 with the triplets on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. You get it now, Ed? It's not straight eighth notes. It's swung. Okay, got it? That's on one surface. Now we go to line 3. Swung. Remember, not 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's straight up and down. We're going to swing it. Line 3. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1. Got it? Now, that's where the accent is going to fall. On the first triplet, it's going to fall on 1 the, which is 1 and the. Then on 2, it's going to fall on 2 the. Want me to do it slower? That's the first part of line 3. All right, now let me finish these beyond 3. 3 and 4 and put it together. Now, right now, you're thinking of mechanics, mathematics, which is the foundation of this interpretation. Then you eventually make it musical. Ba ba doo ba ba da ba da ba doo ba ba da. Okay, that's line 3. Line 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the interpretation. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1. That's what's written. So we're playing the triplets underneath. 1, 2, 3, line 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. Does that make much more sense to you, Mr. Ed? That trouble that you're speaking of, Ed, is a stepping stone or a stepping block, whatever you want to call it, to understand better what you're doing. Anybody could write out 5, 10 pages of triplets with a variety of accents, and that's good to one degree. If you've been playing less than a year, maybe 2 years, and this is new to you, yeah, that's okay. But you guys are seasoned players here. So it's a matter of interpretation. Now that was, what was it, line 4. Let's go to line 5. Swung, remember? 2, line 5. 1 and the 2 and the 3. 1 and the 2. Da, boo, da, da, da. Then it changes. No, it's the same. Da, 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 da. Now, when I'm nailing this with a band, I'm not counting it. I'm looking at the figure and humming it. Humming it. That don't sound too cool. Line 5. Ba, doo, ba, da, da, boo, ba. Boo, da, boo, da, boo, da, boo, da. But that's where the beginner would have a problem interpreting on that, in that zone. Right now, like I said before, it's mathematical. Of course there's a learning process. That's what this platform is all about. You know, I did explain playing straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We swing the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and And I've given a series of different exercises to make that stronger. This is just an additional interpretation. All right, let's go to line 6. 1 and 2 and 3. 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the. So we're interpreting what's there, written in a different way. We're adding it to a triplet zone. 1, 2, line 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Do you understand that? We're not talking straight up and down. It's explained. It's swung. Do we understand that, Ed? Straight up and down is a different thing. It's just a different interpretation. We're swinging the note. Two, 2, 3, 4, 3. Four, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. So on and so forth. What's this? Night. I don't understand that. Is that right? Absolutely, like reading a big band chart. Da ba da ba 2, 3, 4. Absolutely. You know, and I'm giving it to you as that kind of stepping stone to get there. Now, if you're a beginner, you're not going to consider that a big band chart. If you're reading the Syncopation Book, yes, you will. Those certain figures give you different feels and different sounds. And different colors if you utilize the voice as well. That's your discovery channel, I guess. Your creativity. It's like reading the big band chart. Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Now, I have a few thousand different ways to do that interpretation. And yeah, they will be, in book 2, a line or a measure from, say, a stick control book, as then the next measure next to it will show you what I'm interpreting, how I'm interpreting, where the accents fall on top of the 8th note triplet. And the same thing with the Syncopation Book. Now, the book is being worked on. I'd have no idea. You know, I'm going to try to make it 150 pages again, 180 pages rather. And it takes a long time. And I'm investigating in some high speed printers because it takes a long time to do 10 books. Whereas if I have a high speed printer, 10 books would take maybe an hour. What is the problem with last night's lesson, Jim? Playing against the jazz time. Interpreting Chaffee's triplet patterns from the stick control book. What is the problem? And we'll address it right now. You know, the problem with this is, you know, like I said before, Ed and Jim and JC, you know, it's like everybody's at a different level. And that's what you have a chat box for. That's why I have email. Ask the questions and I will address them. Don't walk away uncertain. Don't walk away saying, oh, I'm confused. No, that's not the object. What is the problem? What is the issue with, I covered a lot, and we're going to go over what I'm doing this afternoon and what I did last night, tonight at 7 p.m. Please gather your questions, write them down, enter them either in the chat or send me email. Or if you prefer, call me. Let me put my phone number in there. I'm not here to hurt anybody or to confuse anybody, but it is confusing, and that's unfortunate. There's my phone number. Well, you know, if you're used to playing just straight up and down rock, yeah, it's new. It's a new zone, Jim. And yeah, it's going to be unusual, but it's not difficult. It's just that you have to get into a different mental zone. Triplet. You know, I have certain ways to develop that in an easier way. You know, I put everything all together for everybody, and yeah, that is difficult if you're not familiar with it. However, if you're having difficulty, one step at a time. Let me give you something a little easier, Jim. Okay? Let's take a stick control formula. It's a one surface hand exercise and a drum set application. R is going to become an eighth note triplet, 3 rights. The first right I see would be 1 and the. I see a left, it becomes 3 lefts. So if I did the first line, the first right, left, it would become 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a hand development. 1 and 2 and 3, line 1. Line 3, 2 rights, 2 lefts. You know, once you learn something and you go to your practice routine or your drum set and try to play it, if you're not familiar, you're not going to play it unless you've been playing 100 years. Now, you take that exercise, for example, and you're having problems doing the right hand. Take a simple step. Just use, now we're going to use the substitution. All rights are going to become the bass drum. So you don't want to develop that fast. You want 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. So now you did a substitution. All right, you want to do it slow. Now, if you're having problems with the right hand, what's this? Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Get on my Jeffrey Coles, Swifty. Okay, get on my emailing list, my mailing list. If I do that, here's how I would, if I never did that before and I was just learning it, I would dissect the whole thing. I feel comfortable with the bass drum and the snare drum by itself. One line at a time. You're under no pressure whatsoever. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Okay, so you feel good with that. You got it flowing. Now take the right hand. If this is going to be a problem, the straight ahead time, just play quarter notes. 1 and nice and slow. 2 and the. 3 and the 4 and the. You zone in mentally and do it over and over again, repetition. What's this? Buffett move? Okay. All right, anyway, I'm sorry. Let me just take a break here and give Jeffrey my email. Okay. Now you need to email me, Jeffrey, and I will add you. All right. Now, you know, it's like a form of meditation. You're using 3 limbs with the exercise, and you're not fulfilling the total right hand, but you're keeping time with the right hand, and that's a step towards this. I mean, the first time I tried it, or I was aware of it, it didn't work. It took hours. 1 and quarter notes. 2. Over and over again. And you feel good with that. Make it happen nice and relaxed. Then you want to drop what is this? Add the left foot. Slowly, meditate. 1, and using heel and toe. I'm counting triplets, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. My heel's going to be on the counts of 1 and 3. My toe's going to be on the counts of 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and chick and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now you have the 3 limbs before. Now you're adding an additional limb. So now you want to go 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. You know, there's like 72 lines, guys. You know, you're not going to go through that in a half hour, especially if you never did it before. And you want to actually be your own critic and say, oh, I made a mistake. And believe me, you will make mistakes. I made thousands of mistakes and thousands of mistakes, but I always tried to improve it and correct it. Consistency and repetition will get you where you should be. And then you're going to go to the musical platform. Right now we're on the mechanical and mathematical. You're telling your limbs, okay, right hand, this is what the hell you're going to do. Okay, left hand and right foot and left foot, this is what you're doing. It ain't going to happen just the first time. If it does, man, great. But you're going to have to keep working at it and working at it until it's very relaxed and flows. And that's the whole element of practice. Not playing, practice. Understanding technique. Understanding the mechanics and the math. It's a simple process. You know, and you can't be hard on yourself. Well, if your left hand, you know, you have to separate, and that's why you got to practice stick control book. It's right, left, right, left. When I play my left, my right hand ain't coming down because I tell myself that's not what's there. It's right, left, right, left. I'm playing 1, 2. Here's a good exercise for you, Jim. Just play eighth note triplets with the left hand. 3 and quarter notes with the right hand on the ride cymbal. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. Now if you have this, no, you're not doing it slow enough. You got to zone in, like meditate. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Now, if that's where you're at, that's okay. But it's a starting point. Consistency, repetition, daily practicing, man. Over and over and over again. That will grow. Eventually, you'll be blowing it out like this by practice. You know, I just didn't pick up the sticks and do it. 1, 2, line 1. That took a long time to get down. But then I've been playing a long 1,000 years. But I took that zone of meditating. When I don't know something, I'm having difficulty with it, I meditate. I zone in. I close my eyes. My thought process is on exactly what I'm doing. And the whole world goes away except for what I'm doing. Now, I will be back tonight at 7 p.m. And we will continue where we left off this afternoon. Now, I haven't done anything with time signatures. What did I do with this? This thing drives me crazy. Oh, come on, get off. Anyway, it drives me crazy. I always get stuck on this t-shirt. Why, I don't know. Hold on. Come on, give me a break here. Por favor. One second, guys. Like I said, I haven't done anything on time signatures, and I'm going to do next week one lesson. All right? Whether it be evening or night, afternoon, it will be on time signatures and reading. Now, I do have a method, what I call a full, F-O-O-L, proof method of reading. Well, you say you're always rushing. The metronome should be your best friend right now, if that's your problem. But here's what I've done. I was always, and I still do it to this day, and I catch myself. You know, my mind is always running of this way, that way to do this with the stick control book, mental practice, so on and so forth. The first thing you need to do is back up and say, uh-oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to relax as a person. Once you relax as that person, you will practice relaxed. There's no pressure, okay, on you. You're putting the pressure on yourself. Enjoy the practice. Go forward with the practice, but you got to approach the practice the correct way. Slow down and be relaxed. There's nobody judging you. You are the only judge of yourself. I could care if all the drummers in the world said, Matt Patella, you suck. So what? I know where I'm at, and I know where I want to go. And I know what I have to do to stay where I am. Which is Ed. All right, James, yes, and thanks. Ed, your questions are very helpful to me. You see, that's what I'm talking about. You gentlemen get in the chat, ask the questions, drop them, man. And it's an interaction with everyone, not just me. I got to keep this thing going and going and going. Yeah, at least for an hour. We're here like 48 minutes already. But anyway, I need to sign off. I will be back tonight, 7 p.m. Jim, email me. And Jeffrey, email me. And I will send you my, I will put you on the emailing list and give you the agenda for the week and the times and the locations of the broadcast. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m. on this channel. 9 p.m. on this channel. All times are Eastern Standard Time. So with all that being said, gentlemen, Uncle Matt's going to say, okay, my next student. I really wish I could practice. Ay, ay, ay. I try as much as I